everyone, and welcome to Eternal Mooncast, the streaming show all about Sailor Moon fan theories. We cover everything from the prominent to the obscure in the Mooniverse. We're your co-hosts, Michi and Azira. Tonight, our special guest is
Chiara Scuro.
she is an award-winning queer Chicana Latina cosplayer who has been making costumes for over 15 years and has made about one Sailor Mars costume a year for every year she's been cosplaying, usually for groups with friends. She has been involved in multiple cosplay events as a performer and craftsmanship judge for cosplay contests and masquerades, and as a producer, organized and MC for cosplay events. Like a lot of young girls in the 90s and early 2000s, Sailor Moon was a pivotal inspiration anime for her, and one of the reasons she got into cosplaying. Kiara believes in cosplay is for everyone and in constantly learning, giving back, and contributing to support the cosplay community, and has loved to see the craft grow and evolve from a niche hobby into what it is today. When she's not working on cosplay, you can find her playing Soul Calibur, binging horror films, practicing in long sword class, or probably at the nearest Taco Bell. Welcome, Kiara.
Thank you.
I'm glad that we are doing a Sailor Mars episode. But first, as always, like I like to introduce, let's have our quick Mooney disclaimer. We would like to remind everyone that these are our personal opinions. We do not in any way represent Toei or the Sailor Moon intellectual property. We invite you to join us tonight as we stream live or in our Discord discussions. You are always welcome there. We'd also like to thank our Twitch and Patreon subscribers. You help us make the Mooney magic. Tonight, we delve into The Fire Within Sailor Mars.
We wanted to do this because it was just Sailor Mars's birthday this week.
Yeah. 3 days ago, I think. The 17th.
Yep.
Today's the 20th. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know today's date. I'm really proud of myself.
You know what day of the week it is?
I know, maybe. I didn't have work today, which means I have no idea.
So I just realized it's funny. So Stella, the yellow lab you saw earlier, and everybody else has seen Stella. Stella's birthday is actually April 17th.
Oh, she's an Aries too. I love that.
I realize her and because I never memorized the birthdays except for Usagi's.
Yeah, Usagi's is
So
June
yeah,
30th, and I really think she's the only one. Her and Chibiusa are the only ones that I know. Yeah.
yeah. It's like, oh, my dog Sailor Mars. It makes sense.
No, and I think Sailor Mars is definitely a fan favorite, though I would say she's wildly different depending on what media you're looking at.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Like the manga Mars to anime Mars to Sailor Moon, Crystal Mars are completely different people.
I think we wanted to start out talking about 90s anime Mars because
Yeah.
that's the first one we all grew up with.
Absolutely. Yeah, the original Deek dub, the Sailor Moon.
She's mean. She is so mean.
They wrote her so differently. Yeah, I don't know if they were trying to go with the like fiery Aries personality and but they made her, and maybe it's a sign of the times, they made her really catty and really petty. And I feel like I'm glad that we have advanced as far as discussions of friendships and interactions, especially between girls. And so I'm really glad that you see less and less, and that's not as encouraged as it was back in the 90s. But yeah, they definitely were trying to have her fill that like high school mean girl niche. But she's such a complex character that there were definitely times where you would see past that. I'm probably jumping all around based on what we had discussed, but it's hard to like
No.
run one straight path for her.
She definitely was meant to fill the 90s mean girl role.
Yeah,
Like, she's the one in the group that's causing the conflict for no reason when she wasn't originally written like that, and I think they were just trying to make it so because there's not always, but in the 90s, there was that girl in the friend group who was the one who had this mean girl persona, but in the end, she was loyal to her friends.
yeah, it definitely, you would see that in like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, right? If you ever had a group of girls, you did always have to have one that did that. And I guess I remember having a conversation with a friend when I was in high school, and she actually compared her to Cordelia from Buffy. And she was like, oh, she's that stuck up girl who thinks that she's better than everybody. And I was like, oh, I guess I had never really seen her like that because as a girl in middle school, when Sailor Moon came out, when it was on TV at 6 a.m., right? You would wake up before school to watch it because anime, that was like one of the few things that we had back then. I thought that she was a type of character archetype that I hadn't seen before. And I really liked her because it was nice to see a person who was allowed to be feminine, but still hold their boundaries and still be very direct with what they wanted. And that didn't exist in American media before that, especially in like girls' cartoons or kids' cartoons. Like you had a lot of stereotypes of different characters. You had the damsel and you had the airhead and things like that, but you didn't really have in cartoons specifically the type of archetype that Mars was holding. And I really liked her because it was so refreshing to see somebody hold their own, hold their boundaries, speak their truth, and also be feminine and also be caring when it came down to it. So I really gravitated to her because of that. And then of course, you're watching it sequentially. So then they introduced Makoto and Jupiter. And I was like, oh, and another breath of fresh air, like the tomboy, but also she likes to bake cakes. And yeah, I don't know. I guess that was definitely like my first impression of Mars when I was 11. And I really liked her because of that. She took crap from nobody. She was very honest with what she wanted. And then I remember picking up the manga and reading that and being like, oh my gosh, I love her even more in the manga. Like she still is very fiery and good at holding her own and holding her boundaries, but she was much written as much more elegant and a little more introverted and quieter. And her and Usagi did not have the kind of dynamic in the manga that they had in the 90s anime. And I almost feel like they brought in Mars. I feel like I'm assuming that the producers felt that they needed, like what you were saying, that they needed almost like somebody to fill that archetype and almost be a foil for Usagi, somebody to create conflict in the group, but somebody who wasn't like the enemy or somebody that they were battling from the Negaverse or what. And she did. She would create conflict and they would have fights and things like that. And it was like comedic relief. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I grew up seeing her through a very different lens than a lot of my friends when I would try to talk about Sailor Moon. Like nobody liked Mars. And I was like, well, I think she's really refreshing.
I was
Yeah.
such an Usagi fan that I was like, God, Marge's such a bitch.
Yeah, I
Uh,
heard that. Yeah, that term gets used a lot for her.
but you have to think. So Usagi was the airhead crybaby archetype. And then you have Amy filling the nerd of the
Mhm.
group. And then you have
Mhm.
Mars, who's essentially, when it came over here, even in Japan, she was a catty bitch. That's what she was filling in the group. And then you've got Minako was filling.
Barely in the first season.
I think
Yeah.
Minako, it's hard because she was Sailor V and
Mhm.
I don't know if they had written a whole lot of that before that, but she was definitely also she's the hyperactive ADHD
Yeah.
person in the group, right?
And
Like,
it's interesting because she was a fashion model, but man, was she into sports. Holy crap, was
oh
that
yeah,
girl into
volleyball
volleyball.
and yeah,
And
yeah.
then you have Makoto who was filling the mother role. So, she was filling more of a motherly role, even though she was a tomboy, she was like, "I've made these treats for you. I'm the big strong one. I take care of all of you." And that's what she was filling. So they were trying to fill a lot of stuff, and I think that's where we get the anime, and I think that's what they were trying to do because
Mhm.
that's what you saw in media. Like,
Yeah,
when you had more than 3 girls in a friend group, you had all these little personalities they had to have, and it was a very big shock to go from that to reading the manga because the manga wasn't really over here
right.
when it was first airing over here
Yeah.
in the States. And so I think when I read the manga, it was such a refresher. I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I don't dislike her anymore. Who's the pretty girl?" I was like,
This dark-haired girl that goes to private school and yeah,
"Yeah." And
wears
she's such an
lipstick. I feel
elegant,
like
like,
she was
shrine priestess. I was like
yeah.
like,
Very different character.
it's such a character shift compared to the other girls. I think Mars is so much different compared to everybody else because Makoto and Minako they weren't very different in the mangas.
Yeah.
Minako was a little bit more of a leader, but you have Ami who's still pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Usagi's across the board almost the
Mhm.
same. She's a less of a crybaby in the manga because she grows up a little bit more quickly, but they all match their manga personalities. Mars, complete disconnect.
Mhm.
Like, completely. I see no other than she was a shrine priestess and both of them went to private school.
Yeah. You could have said they literally are, like, almost 2 different
They're
characters.
they're 2
Yeah.
different characters.
Yeah.
And I think that's very jarring for a lot of people. Like, when they're like, "Oh," and they've only seen the anime for Mars or just the 90s anime, and they're like, "Yeah, I never really liked Mars." I'm like, "Have you read the manga at
Yeah.
all?" And people are like, "No," and I'm like, "You need to read it they did Mars dirty. Okay.
Yeah.
So dirty.
I don't know if it was just a decision on the producers. I can't see Naoko making that type of decision. All of Naoko's decisions are very, like, very feminist and very fair-minded of making good role models for little girls. I feel like it definitely I feel like, yeah, to your point, it was exactly to create a harmless kind of conflict in the group. And yeah, no, just as reading the manga, like I said, I loved her even more. And I loved that she filled that more elegant psychic kind of role, which is another type of character archetype that I love to gravitate to. And she also had that side of her in the anime. But I feel like a lot of times it got overshadowed. I feel like you only really saw Mars being, full of conflict and creating issues when Usagi was around. I was talking to Michi the other day. I keep forgetting his Japanese name, but Chad was around. Yeah. I can't say his name normally. I have to say it like Chad.
That's what he was Todd.
Was absent. Yeah, it's not Chad.
Ray, you gotta come quick!
Y'all look bad.
The decision that they made to give everybody accents in that. But yeah, like you really only saw her being like that. Like the episode was it the Black Moon episode where Koan or Katsi and her have their fight at the shrine. You don't even see Mars being that way to her. Like she's actually relating to her and wanting to help her. And you see her being incredibly kind and compassionate. So you really only see that side of her come out around Usagi, maybe okay, let me be honest, around Usagi and the men in her life. And I personally cannot blame her for being that way because highly relatable, big moves. And I think that's again like another reason why younger me really respected her was that she held her boundaries and she didn't take anything. Like she didn't let anybody walk all over her. And seeing somebody do that to a lot of not great cis het guys in her life was refreshing. And I didn't have the vocabulary to understand it when I was in middle school. And by the time I was in high school, I was like, oh, I'm queer. And everything made a lot of sense. And I was like, yeah. And I like to use the term in heterospect. I can't take credit for that, but I do the term in heterospect where you look back and you were like, oh yeah, back when I thought I was straight. So, I like that. It's a great term. I wish I saw it somewhere on social media. I wish I could take credit for it. But yeah, no, in heterospect, I can't do anything that seriously. Looking back at Mars and how she handled a lot of the like cis dudes in her life was refreshing to me just because of how girls are socialized growing up and seeing Mars not giving into that convention, especially when you're like 11 or 12 and you're watching this in an anime, you're like, oh my gosh, this is game changing.
Except for Mamoru.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Michi and I were talking about that, and I was like, that was a choice, and I will not defend that. That was
A series of choices.
clearly a choice.
I don't understand what the point of it was.
It
Very
was
awkward.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Enemies to lovers.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I don't know. I was like, I don't feel right about this. And the reason why I didn't feel right about it, because I read it in the manga later, I'm like, oh, because it didn't fucking happen.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was, because even like when I was watching as a kid, I was like, this doesn't feel right. I'm not understanding this very well. Why is she like wanting to be with him so desperately?
Yeah.
She like elbows her way in.
It
I was like,
definitely felt
weird.
like one of those, if Usagi wants it, I want it kind of things. And it just, again, there were definitely some choices I feel like the TV producers made for her to fulfill a stereotype. And yeah, the fact that it doesn't happen in the manga, and the fact that honestly, you don't really see her being like that after season 1. Like
No.
in other seasons, it's all toned down so much. But
It's like almost gone.
yeah, like her and Usagi still fight. But to be fair, during the last episode where they're going after Beryl and Mars is sticking with Usagi, she's the last one to die and she's sticking with her to the end, you really see they give hints throughout the series, but that episode, after pushing the envelope as much as they did with her and with the conflict with her and Usagi, down to even, what was it? The episode where they were trying to trick, I think it was Zoisite, into thinking that the Senshi were breaking. So Mars is fighting Usagi for like leadership. And it's actually a pretty believable plot because if anyone was going to have a conflict and was going to challenge her for leadership, it was going to be Rei. So they definitely push it. And I think that episode also says a lot because Rei was self-aware and knew what it would look like from the outside. So when they were coming up with this, it was believable. But yeah, when it comes down to it and when push comes to shove, it really does come down to the fact Mars bullies Usagi and makes fun of her and teases her. And Usagi does it right back too. She usually in tears, but she does it right back to Mars. It's definitely like a certain dichotomy of friendship. And Mars does that because she feels closer to Usagi than everybody else. And she actually cares more and is very loyal, which is why she feels comfortable having that type of dichotomy as opposed to just the friendship that she's got with the other Senshi. And like I said, there's definitely a lot of episodes where it comes to pass, but you really do see that in the last episode of season 1. So they spend the entire first arc building up all of this conflict, some in some really toxic, feminine coded ways. And then in the very last episode, it shows why, and it shows how far Mars is willing to go to keep Usagi.
If you're not roasting your best friend, are you really friends?
If you can't go hard on the ones you love, do you really love them? And that's the other part where I personally really relate to Mars is I'm that way with my close friends. I do it to a lot of my best friends, as long as I know that it's not going to hurt them, that they're not, that they understand where it's coming from. But I'm definitely that person that walks in and I'm like, hey, loser. And that's my way of being like, I love you. Or we're dressing up at an anime con and I walk into a room and I'm, oh man, hey, weebs, I say as a weeb myself. Yeah, I'm like, ew, nerds. I'm clear as I'm getting into cosplay makeup. Ew, nerds. Who does this with their Saturday? Yeah. So but the thing is, I want them to dish it back. That's how I express my affection when I feel close to somebody and I want the same thing from them. I will never make fun of somebody in a lighthearted way where I don't want them to do the same to me.
You don't do it with people you don't know either. You're like,
oh no,
I don't know you well enough to insult you.
Right, exactly. I'm like, hey, you don't get to call him a nerd. I'm the only one that gets to call them a nerd. Right, definitely. I think seeing that reflected in Rei was always something I really related to and understood as well. And like I said, Usagi throws it right. But to me, it reads as a sign of closeness, and reading the interviews later from a lot of the creators, that is how it was intended. I thought they did a good job as far as that goes. But like you said, to your credit, like there was definitely a lot of things with Rei that was like, why are you going after Mamoru? Personally, I don't care for Mamoru. I find him boring. And I was just like, really? I don't know the guy.
They is right there in stars. Come on.
But you're doing it because Usagi wants him, and you're doing it to create like you could tell in the scenes with the two of them together when they were dating that they never really cared about it, or they never really liked each other. Like they were not in love. There was a type of action. It was all just dumb things that teenagers do. Like she was in high school, he was in college. Oh yeah.
He was
he's in college. He's in college. I'm rewatching it.
I thought he was in college in the first season.
Did the American version put him in college instead of high school?
He's in college. Okay. Yes, he's in college.
They did.
I'm rewatching the stuff.
I'm sorry. I said Rei was in high school. She wasn't. She was in middle school.
She's
in the first season. Yeah. Of course.
Dating a college. Because I know they aged him up in the United States in the US version for some fucking reason. I was like, how are you going to explain in stars that he's going to college in the States? And then I realized that we're never going to get stars until now. So,
yeah.
No, but that's a good transition because actually, I don't know if you know this, Chiara. Melvin wrote a book.
What?
There's a real book. And there's actually all the voice actors talk about their experience on Sailor Moon.
Oh, I love that. I'll have to check that out. Okay.
I highly recommend it. I'm reading through it. I'm just an incredibly slow reader. So
no, I love that. I have to ask, is it from the point of view of Melvin or is it from the voice actor himself?
I wish it was from the point of view of Melvin.
Okay.
Katie Griffin is the voice of Sailor Mars in the 90s. And she said, Sailor Moon was my very first cartoon series, and it was a starting point to a very long and lucrative voiceover career. I had been pretty fresh out of high school, attended Ryerson University for a brief moment in time, and started filming various on-camera commercials and TV shows and movies of the week, not even thinking about the voice actor world. I owe Sailor Moon a lot, really. My friend Reno Romano was the original Tuxedo Mask, and he pushed me to audition for the show. He spoke with Nicole and asked her to give me a shot. Unlike most of the other audition stories, I think I may have been the only girl on the show that didn't audition for the part of Sailor Moon. I went in for Mars. She was my girl from the get-go. I had no idea what the show was about, and the karaoke-esque way of recording the show was brand new to me and quite terrifying, but I wanted Mars. She was fire. Somehow the stars or moon aligned and I became Sailor Mars. And it was a pretty tough show to do. Constant screaming, no clue what the storyline was, not to mention the rhythmo band with a crazy handwritten line, sometimes badly translated. I remember Karen Bernstein, Sailor Mercury, and I sounded a lot alike initially. So, on top of all the technical changes from the rhythmo band, I had to somehow separate my voice from Sailor Mercury, and then it was tricky to say the least. Luckily, we were all in it together, supporting one another and having a pretty great time navigating it. It was one of the best experiences of my life, and I learned a lot about myself and what I was capable of this show. I still can't believe it's been 20 years. Oh, it's been a lot longer.
It's just has it been 20 years? And I'm just
Like
thinking and I'm like
30
doing math in my
years now,
head.
isn't
Yeah.
it?
To this day, if I come across a picture of Rei, Sailor Mars, I always feel a sense of pride. I always see myself in that picture.
Oh, I love that. That's so sweet. I had no idea that her and Mercury sounded so similar because in the deep dub, they made some choices with Luna and Mercury and their voices.
I
Yeah.
love
Felt
Luna.
that
Luna,
part in the
Deep
book
Luna
on
is my
Jill.
favorite Luna. I'll die for her.
The part on Jill in this book is so good. Just highly recommend the book.
I love that. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. Thanks for letting me know about
I think it's called like Reflections of Moonlight or something, but it's by Roland Parliament, who was the voice of Melvin.
Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah.
So that
What's
was
the
my
cover
little
look
like.
like? Because I know I was in one, but I don't think it was in that one.
It wasn't that one because I have
I
the
for-
one you're in.
I forget which one I did an interview for. I was like, I don't remember.
Where is that? This is what it looks like.
Oh, that's cute.
Oh yeah, okay.
But yeah, I just had to bring that up because I think it's cool to hear from like the voice actress herself and that she's such a big fan of Mars as a character.
Oh, absolutely. I love that
Fun.
she went in knowing what she in a very Ray fashion. She went in knowing exactly what she wanted, and she got it.
It's interesting that she mentioned that her and Mercury sound alike. Because I'm like, they did.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I just Mercury's voice, and I'm wondering if they let Mars stay the way that was it Kathy sounded, and then they told Mercury to like because she had a very like pausing way of talking, like she shortened like all of her vowels and things like that when she spoke. Like all of Mercury, like all of Amy's words had little pauses after. And I feel like that more shy, quipped way of talking maybe was their way of trying to change it up so that
And
they
that
could
I
go
guess
into
she
the other
had that
room and you
accent
heard
that she
a girl
kind of
talking
filtered
and
in a
knew who it
little.
was.
They're like,
Yeah.
put that accent. Just
Yeah. There were definitely the show made I think also because they were trying to deal with maybe different Japanese dialects. So that's why they were like telling Molly or Naru to talk with a is it a Jersey or a New York accent?
the
I always
Boston
mess them up.
accent.
Boston. See, oh my God. I always mess them up.
Oh my God. Boston Molly. Oh, my
You
favorite.
like
Get
my
chocolate face together. I cried
I
so
love
hard
her.
watching that episode, and then my friends and I made it a long-standing joke, and after that, every time I go back to rewatch the episode, I cry because I'm laughing so hard, and my friends that are watching it for the first time look at me like I'm a monster.
like she acted the hell out of that accent.
She
So
did.
good. It's
And
just
by the way,
her and British Luna.
So I
My
went
favorites.
I went a little ahead to the Sailor Mercury section to see what the voices was about. And the woman, Karen Burstein, who did Mercury, said, our young voices with Katie Griffin and I sounded very similar at first. So we really needed to be distinguished. I figured because Amy was an erudite, her favorite reading material was probably encyclopedias and dictionaries. So not only would she have a vast vocabulary, she would be very precise in her grammar and pronunciation. I therefore decided she would be extremely articulate and almost formal sounding in her delivery. But I also wanted her to be a typical teen, so I incorporated a bit of upward flare injection in her voice.
Okay, that makes sense about how she got to that because she does read like someone dictating an essay when she
Mhm.
talks, so that does make a lot of sense. Okay,
And that fits Mercury's character so well.
yeah, except for when she goes and she tells Malachi to go bleach his roots.
Step aside, Mercury. It's not you I'm after.
Go bleach your roots, creep!
Fine.
I was like, that one hit hard. That one will always hit hard because it's always the quiet ones, right? If Mars or Jupiter had said it, no one would have batted an eye. But because Mercury said it, everybody was like, you need to go sit down. Oh my God, are you okay? Do you want me to call you an ambulance? Like,
For that burn, like
always the quiet
The
ones.
90s, that was the burn. bleaching their. How could you point out their roots like that? Oh my god.
who's gonna tell that to Mercury, right? She's so sweet. And just, you know what? Maybe she's got a point. Yeah, okay.
Oh my gosh. But
Um,
anything else we want to talk about 90s anime Mars?
I wanted to point out because we were talking about like how Mars changed after season 1. We see the pullback from her and Usagi having so much conflict the moment Chibiusa comes in. And it becomes
Oh,
Chibiusa and Usagi, which, you know what? That's manga reliant because her and Chibiusa do go at it in the manga a lot. Not as much as they do in the anime. The way they played up some stuff in the anime has always made in the 90s anime always made me question it. I love the 90s anime. Don't get
mhm.
me wrong, but sometimes like reading the manga and then seeing the new remake and stuff like that, them trying to follow them. They try and failed for some reason. Crystal season 1. But what?
More choices.
I always find it interesting, just the way they went with the 90s. But yeah, you see the dynamic with Mars fall off. Like, you see it every once and it kind of gets sprinkled in as the series goes on. But as the series go on, her and Mars get even closer.
hmm
And more of that fighting dynamic get passed on to Chibiusa
Yeah, no,
instead
that's
of
an
between
excellent
Usagi and
point.
Mars.
That is absolutely an excellent point. I actually think that there's a scene where I want to say it's in a cafe or something. I can barely remember it. Where like Mars makes a point and Chibiusa backs her up, and they're both just like going at poor Usagi. But yeah, and no, you're absolutely right. That is definitely she became or Rini or whatever name you're going by. Like she definitely became the source of conflict and contention in season 2, and then I think after that was when Ikuhara took it over with
Bless.
directing.
Bless
And
your heart.
yeah, and changed. And I am a huge Uchina fan, so I will say Ikuhara did no wrong in the 2 seasons that he directed. But yeah,
They're wonderfully gay and weird, and we
got
love
very
it.
gay, and everything got healthier as far as the dynamics of the Senshi cast. Yeah.
And then there's one part of the 90s anime that I think was the big change with Mars. And I'm having Az pull it up for me right now. And that is when Mars faces the Doom and Gloom girls.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
You know what?
What?
I really had fun arguing with you all the time.
Wait, why'd you just say that?
I thought I'd tell you in case something bad happens.
Stop it! This isn't the time to be joking! Wait! I can handle the rest of what needs to be done here. I'll defeat them in Queen Barrel, then I'll come home. So please, Rei, just go home. I don't want you to die.
I appreciate your concern, but I'm afraid I can't let you do that. You need to save your strength for the bigger battle. Besides, you've never seen anyone come close to beating me. Give me 2 minutes and we'll go finish Queen Barrel together. They're fast.
What happened?
Now you're mine!
She's alive!
Damn you! Well now, that leaves just you, princess.
Rei, no!
Now it's your turn!
I'm not done yet. Fire. Usagi, turns out you were right. About Yuichiro, I should have kissed him. Too late now.
Just crying over here. It's fine. We're crying in the blood.
I was like, think of puppies. Like, I was like, I can't watch parts of this. This still gets me.
That to me is one of Mars's strongest moments in the
Oh,
entire
yeah.
series.
Absolutely. And that was what I was mentioning in the last episode. You really see her come through and take down two of them because she's not going to let any harm happen to Usagi. And it doesn't matter like how bad off she is, she's still going to rally to make it happen. That you see her do that, not even just with Usagi, but like you also see it going back to the Sailor Moon R part where she was doing, it was like her and Katsi, and they were fighting at the shrine, and someone's attack to protect Katsi. Oh, it was Jupiter. She took Jupiter's knee to her rib cage to protect her. And even though she was already like completely burned and hanging on, like when Rei cares about somebody, she's very passionate, which is also another sign of Aries. And I think it's also like in her saying that, yeah, when she cares about somebody, she's very loyal and she just goes gloves off for it. And I really do like that. 90s anime Mars. I feel like they did that at least as a way to try to balance the pettier things that they had her do earlier in the season. Yeah. That episode is a punch.
And I just love that line of, I really liked arguing with you.
Yeah. Like it was clearly like how they communicated in their friendship.
She was like, I love you, girl.
Yeah. I love you, loser. I love you too.
I know. And then when she says 2 minutes and we'll be done, I'm like, please don't say that.
Yeah. 1 minute for one of the Doom and Gloom girls and the other minute for the other Doom and Gloom girl. And then she can lie, like spoiler, they come back and help at the end.
Oh, anything else you guys wanted to touch on for those two?
No, but I have a good segue to go into manga
Go for it.
because I don't see it on the list. So I find it interesting because we're about to go into Manga Mars. When you compare Grandpa, what he looks like in the 90s anime, to manga Grandpa.
Oh, yeah. Didn't we talk about that? I don't think we put it as a thing on there, but we
Okay.
were definitely talking
was
about
like-
that.
You have this little perverted man, and then you go into manga and you're like, Grandpa? He was like,
I definitely remember watching one of the Crystal movies with my friends, and we were doing like in the pandemic, we were doing a group chat about it, and suddenly like our Discord was just like, who's this hot old guy? And I was like, that's her. And everybody was like, that's not what her grandpa looks like. And I was like, hold on, let me go get my manga. I will show you that is exactly what her grandpa looks like. But again, he is another like situation, like you were saying, where they needed, I guess, like a Master Roshi role, right? To be filled. They needed the creepy, perverted old dude for more laughs and humor and what. So they just completely changed him. I also feel like he got dundered because of that.
Yeah.
His
So you wouldn't look
personality
and
was
be like,
so sweet and supportive, and he was like a silver fox.
He also kind of looks, if you took away the mustache, Chad.
Oh, that's weird. Don't say that.
Because Chad's not in the manga.
No, he's not, but that's so weird.
Take away the mustache and it looks like Chad.
Oh my God.
I'm not wrong.
But he had eyes. Like his eyes were, Chad's hair was like over his eyes most of the time.
Grandpa's eyes were not always shown.
Really? We remember.
Every once in a
Okay.
while, just like Chad in the anime where it shows eyes sometimes. Grandpa
Okay.
sometimes
I
always
definitely
shows
remember there was
stuff.
like a flashback in S or Super S where he was talking to Rei at the shrine. And I specifically remember like the eyes, the little mustache. Yeah. Okay. Now I want to go back and go through all my manga and check that out.
Welcome.
That gets to sit in the back of my head now. Oh my God, what design decisions got made?
No, but my favorite Chad moment is when he tries to fight Haruka, and it's the most one-sided fight I've ever seen
Oh
in
yeah,
my
he
life.
just gets his ass handed to him.
I'm sorry, I still don't understand what's going on. You want to fight me, is that it? Because I gave Rei a ride on my bike, and you're jealous or something?
I am not jealous! Put him up!
No way. I think we should probably talk this out.
No, thanks. I've said all I gotta say. Now we rumble!
This is nuts. You're being totally unreasonable.
You stay away from Rei and you're off the hook.
Rei's my friend.
Had enough? I won't let you take Rei off her quest for truth. You stay away, Sneak.
Are all former rock stars as loony as you?
I'm not loony. I'm living!
Chad!
Rei!
Amara, are you alright?
I'm fine, but your boyfriend's pretty beat up.
Are you going around telling people you're my boyfriend, Chad?
Not exactly. I said I was your friend and I wouldn't let her hurt you. But I can see you don't need me anymore, Rei. Still, she has a heart as pure as gold. If you find a special place in it, you're one of the luckiest people on Earth.
I know that.
And if you lose that place, your heart will burst into 1,000 tiny pieces of misery. Now, excuse me, I gotta go put a blues band together.
Huh? Bye.
Hope they still have vacancies at the Heartbreak Hotel.
She doesn't even put down her umbrella.
Yeah. Yeah.
Manga Mars is a different beast.
Absolutely.
And we
It's
also
a completely different character.
no, and she also comes with her own complications with that boyfriend. Boyfriend.
Oh, I don't remember. Was it when in the manga did they talk about it? Because is it during Super S when is it right before she gets her super form? I'm trying to remember. Or because it's like a flash, because it's something that happened before she met Usagi, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I was trying to remember timeline wise when all happened. I think I blacked that out because it's so cringy. Yeah, definitely more decisions and
A
choices.
sign of the times.
Yeah.
But it's a sign of the times, as we always say here, because it was back then in manga, it was okay for middle school girls to be with college guys. And I'm like,
Was it though? Was it? Or did we just not see you can like
they did a lot of it. It's just like they did it a lot in
gross.
like Cardcaptor Sakura too. And I was like, oh,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
and back then we were like, oh, this is fine.
Yeah.
And now we're adults and we're like,
Absolutely not. No. Yeah. Absolutely not. Yeah, the fact that she was so her dad's a politician.
Yeah.
And I don't think that ever gets mentioned in the anime.
I think her dad's is like never referred to in the
Yeah, like her parent I don't
Not
think
in the
either of her
90s.
parents. Yeah, in the 90s specifically. Yeah, I don't think either of her parents are ever referred to in the I think it's just grandpa at her and grandpa at the shrine and that's it. But they do talk about like her dad being a politician. And I think it's only mentioned like maybe once and that he's always away on some business trip. I don't think they ever talk about her mom, maybe. But the fact that it is not even heavily, I think it's just directly said that she was having an affair. And by she, I mean her dad's intern. Wait, was it an intern or was it her dad's assistant?
it's his assistant, but she knew him before her father became a politician.
Oh, see, I forgot about that.
So
Well,
while
that makes it any better.
she is
But
supporting him and she steps back from him while she's still in school because he's lined up to be her dad's successor and she doesn't want that life. She's no,
yeah,
I don't
I
want to end up like
knew
my
I
mother.
knew she had no intention of following in her dad's footsteps. But yeah, I couldn't remember if he was her intern or her dad's assistant. So thank you for refreshing my
He's
memory.
he's like he's like right under her dad and he's being groomed to
To
be
take
the
this.
next, basically take whatever her father does, be the next one in line for it. He's being
Right.
prepped for that. And
Yeah.
her father, I think, like approves of him because he wants Rei to be back into that life and not essentially dwindle away her life as a shrine maiden.
Yeah. Yeah. And Ray does talk about, not to segue, but she does talk about a few different career paths and things like that she wants. And I can't actually remember if any of those differ from the manga and the anime as far as like her career ideals. She definitely, you
think the
definitely
singer
see, and I think it
singer
maybe just
one.
depends on which arc it is, because for a while she wants to be an idol. And then she
Yeah.
talks about in SO, her big conflict in Super S when everybody's getting the nightmares and they're questioning everything. It's such a great scene right before they all get their superpowers and their new super henshin, where she's trying to decide if she does want to accept being a shrine maiden, being a Miko for the rest of her life. So I feel like, yeah, her career ideals definitely change. But I do remember she specifically was like, I have no interest in politics. I don't want to be my dad's protege, essentially. But
Mhm.
and it actually took Michi reminding me that, yeah, she definitely had an affair with her dad's assistant And wasn't he married or something as well while that was going on? I thought that was no? Okay.
No,
I
he's
thought
supposed
it
to be a
was
young guy.
oh,
He's
I thought it
he's a
was
young
hinted
he's a young guy.
I thought it was hinted that he was an adult and that he
He
was
is an
married.
adult. He's like the way like the timeline that they mention, he's maybe 23, 24.
Okay, but
He's
she's still
not
like
he's
14.
not he's not like the 35-year-old.
Oh, no, I didn't. I thought that he was in his 20s, and I thought he might have been married. I couldn't remember. So, yeah,
No,
I just
he was like she was in love with him. Like they were in love with each other. But she's like, no, thank you. You
yeah,
don't
still
look
just
like
and I guess it's the same kind of age gap with Mamoru and Usagi, but it's still one of those, like
maybe anime, like 90s anime wise, but Usagi and Mamoru are only supposed to be 2 or 3 years apart in the manga.
oh, I thought he was in early college in the manga for some reason. I thought
End
he
of
was, like,
manga.
18. Oh, that's right, because you're right, that's right, because he goes
He's
to
in high
America
s
for
he's a 2nd or 3rd year in high school when the manga starts.
Why did they
So,
change that?
she's
and I'm like, "How did you make this? You
15.
made it worse. How did you make this worse?"
So she's what, 15 or 14 when the manga
14.
starts?
I think she was
14?
14 in the manga.
14.
Yeah.
14, he's supposed to be 16 or 17.
Okay, that is a lot less creepy.
Yeah, like the
So, like,
manga,
there's nothing yeah, yeah, like,
their
it's just
age
that
gap
is not
isn't
as
as
bad.
big. They've got
Yeah.
like at most a 4-year age gap. It's still a little, but you have to think if she's 20, he's 24. It's but
Yeah,
they
yeah,
had that kind of age gap. It's not like Mars and this assistant dude. This
yeah,
is
where it's
they've
like,
got
what
almost a 10-year age gap.
yeah, I was gonna say it's about a decade, yeah. Yeah.
I do find it because you were mentioning careers. In the manga, she does not want to be an idol. She does not want to be a singer.
No, she doesn't want to in the manga,
Yeah.
just in
So
the,
that was a different like in the manga, she was more concentrated on running the shrine
in taking it over,
and
yeah.
taking it over, like being the owner of it because she wanted to like essentially honor her mother
Mhm,
because
yeah.
that's her mom's dad. So that's interesting. They had career choices in the 90s anime, but in the manga, she was like, "Nope, I'm happy doing this.
Yeah.
I'm really good at it."
Which is why I thought the scene in Super S where she questions it for a little bit, like that little crack is there, and they're trying to take advantage of that and what she wants to do with her life. I thought that was pretty powerful.
Oh, Uda's here. Let's see.
They
She
also
did have
bring
really good character songs, yeah.
Yeah.
they did give her some really good songs. I do though that the 90s anime didn't really touch on family. Who did other than the manga? PGSM.
See, I still need to
PGSM,
watch that. I have definitely done myself a disservice by not watching it
you
yet.
really have
It was
actually.
so hard
So
for me
good.
to get my hands on when I was,
Mhm.
like, in high school and college, and it's so much more readily available now, so I need to
Just
sit down and
get a
watch it.
hold of it. You will not regret because Mars is in PGSM is a very good balanced mix between the 90s anime and manga Mars because she still has that conflict with Usagi, but she's much more elegant. And you do see the politician dad side because it comes up in PGSM. She has to go meet her dad and has to dress like a politician's daughter. And
Mhm.
she is not happy about
That's
it.
interesting. I really like that they finally introduce more of her not home life, but yeah, more of it makes her more of a 3D character to introduce that type
Mhm.
of yeah.
The bickering with Usagi wasn't too much when it comes to PGSM. They had a little bit of it, I guess, just to keep a little
Keep
bit of
that vibe
dynamic,
fresh.
but it wasn't like 90s anime. Like I said, they did a really good blend of 90s and manga Mars because like I said, she was very elegant. She went to the private school. She was constantly like looking out for the other scouts. She was very like self-sacrificing, especially because they do change things up with Minako, with being an idol already in PGSM. And her and Minako actually become very close. Like she's actually more conflict with Minako, so it's almost similar to how she is with Usagi in the
Oh,
90s.
that's
Much
interesting.
more
That's an interesting
conflicting.
dynamic. Okay.
It's much more conflicting because she doesn't trust her. Because she's, "What you hiding, bitch? Because you're hiding something." She feels that Minako's hiding something, and she is actually the one who finds out what's going on with Minako, and, like, Minako trusts her in the end and stuff like that. So they actually become very close,
Oh, I love
um,
that. Yeah.
which is interesting because then you've got burning love happening in
That
PGSM.
is definitely a ship I am on.
So similar to the Mom That Burning Love ship. So I really liked PGSM Mars was just beautiful to me because like I said, she like you really will love her. because she is
Everything that
the
you've said,
blend.
it definitely checks like all the boxes. I'm like, oh my God, I
Mhm.
love her even more. Oh, I
Mhm.
definitely
And
need to watch it
she's
now
oh my god, her actress actually played Sailor Cosmos's voice
for the anime.
for the anime, the
Oh,
Cosmos
that's
movie.
awesome. I've
So she
seen clips.
actually plays Sailor Cosmos's voice.
I've seen clips of a PGSM, and I've seen Mars in that, and she's gorgeous. She's so pretty. All the girls are pretty, but there's this one scene where it like zoom. It's a GIF that I keep seeing that pops up, and I use it a lot. Where it like Mars is standing there after having either walked into a battle or like just defeated somebody. She's got her hands on her hips, and it zooms in, and she winks at the camera, and I was just like, I love you. That is so
I
good.
love you.
Yeah.
So she is like great because we get the Shrine Maiden stuff that she does. I think she does have the crows she speaks to, but they're not very like prominent. But she does have the crows on the shrine and stuff like that. But yeah, I love her. So she's a really good mix. You really do need to watch it.
Yeah, it's interesting how there's so many different iterations of her. And it
Mhm.
sounds like PGSM made its own iteration from the anime as well.
They
Yeah.
definitely did.
They kept her mature also like she is in the manga.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she's much more that mature, elegant character compared to the other Senshi. So
Yeah. Like
they
she
kept
would have
that a
fit
lot.
in pretty well with the outer Senshi with the way that she was
Mhm.
written in the manga. Like by the time they introduced the outer Senshi in the manga, I actually remember thinking, oh, they're all fitting Rei. Oh no, wait, Rei's kind of fitting them. But so yeah.
Oh, okay. What is coming in saying, first off, for PGSM, there's a great episode where Rei and Ami both run away from home because of issues with their respective parents. And then on some Japanese variety shows recently, Keiko Kitagawa was a featured guest, and 20 years later, she still, word for word, could recite her pre-battle speech.
Oh, I love that. That's Caesar
PGSM
to
girls
it.
loved their roles and they still hang out.
Oh,
I
that's
love
so
that.
awesome. That's so
When
wholesome.
they
I love
can, they
that.
meet up for like people's birthdays and stuff.
Aw.
And I'm like,
My Kokoro.
I love you.
That's awesome. And that is honestly a good point. Like both, yeah, Ray and because Makoto's parents are dead. And then but like seeing Ray and Ami both the conflict that Ami clearly has with her, I think it's her mom who's the doctor. And
Their dad
then
started.
yeah, and then just I don't know, I can definitely see the two of them bonding over something. Like it's something that I do wish got addressed in the 90s anime. Just it went on for so long they easily could have addressed it in one of those episodes. So I'm glad that it is something that like I had thought about, especially after that arc in Super S, where you like I said, you see each girl dealing with like their own eternal like internal eternal conflict. Getting really deep there. But yeah, so I'm glad that PGSM took the time to address something like that.
PGSM is fantastic.
I
We have
definitely
nothing but
need
good
I need to
things
do
to say.
myself a favor and
We
check
did
it
a
out.
whole episode on it for a reason.
I love that. I also wanted to point out that I put my water in a
Aw.
gray mug.
I'm
So,
wearing my Mars wand.
I love that. That's so cute.
And then I've got Mars earrings on, but you can't see them.
That is so cute. I
Cute.
tried to. I looked at some of my earrings and I was like, I could wear my Mars cosplay earrings, and I was like, I'll just try to like do more of a red and black kind of theme today, which most
Yeah.
of the I own is red and black by default, so that makes everything pretty easy.
You're like, it's fine.
It's goth kid stuff.
You're like, I'm just living my Mars life. It's fine.
It's well, that was the other thing, like cosplaying her, it's super easy because I always just have red and black fabric on me because I'm sewing stuff for myself too. And I'm like, oh, a new Mars costume, and I just pull stuff off my shirt or purple. Like I wear red and purple as accent colors along with metallics. So I'm like, oh wait, what colors do I need this time? It's the same three oh, and some white. Okay, I have to go buy white. Who owns white?
Oh my gosh. So, anything else about Manga Mars we want to talk about?
You definitely see a lot more of the shrine in the manga. Like she uses her psychic powers more too.
She does, yeah. And I always
Um,
was really sad that they didn't play it up a little bit more. Like every now and then it pops up in the anime, like her
she sees like
premonitions.
the doom happening, and that's
Yeah, she gets really foreboding premonitions. Never good things. You never see her be like, tomorrow the sun's gonna come out and we're all gonna go on a picnic. Like it's never that. It's always like Saturn's destroying the world or something to that degree.
we're all going to die. Next on my agenda. Mars,
Thanks,
hold
Ray.
on,
This is
go
why
back
we
to
don't
that.
hang out with you. God, goth kids, right? I just, yeah, you either see her doing that or like a lot of her sealing abilities with her scrolls. Oh my God, my camera. I'm so sorry. Yeah, a lot of
Straight on
like
the show.
her. Yeah, yeah. I don't know what it's doing. I am so sorry, guys.
You're
Please,
fine.
please stay in there.
Your
Definitely not.
camera went. You're too queer to be straight.
Yeah, nothing that I own is straight. Yeah, you definitely see a lot of her sealing powers and abilities. I'm trying to think of there's an episode where they're doing a school fair or something and she's reading tarot cards,
Yeah.
I think, or
Yeah.
telling fortunes. I can't remember if it's through the tarot cards or if she's just getting like little premonitions for people. But hopefully those turned out good and not full of doom. So I don't remember any girls leaving the tent crying or
Also,
anything.
like,
So
and who was it against? It was the person who did tarot cards. Who was her? There was someone, it was one of the series, someone was reading tarot cards. Was it Stars? And she was like, "These aren't right. Who are you?" I forget what episode it was.
oh, so she
At
was
one of the
reading them.
school
Someone else
fairs.
was reading them to her. Because I think the one where she was reading them, was it maybe it was Stars.
She was in like a purple
She's
and
in
red
a little
outfit.
yeah, she's got a veil on and
Oh,
like
it's
it's
first Colin. They're both reading cards. That's what it is.
okay.
Okay. And then Uda coming in the comments. Ray's father, to improve his political stand. Oh my God, Naboo. To improve his standing in political polls, wants her to leave the shrine and move back in with him. At the same time, Ami's mom wants her to change schools because Ray and Ami both got caught by police after curfew because they had just finished fighting a Yuma. And the episode is really good.
Huh. Okay.
Is that
Yeah. That's
GSM?
That's PGSM.
Okay, I was like, thinks back. I'm like, that's PGSM.
Yeah. And then I think this was for you, Kiara. The Act 15, the manga she's reading, Tear It Out of Festival.
okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And then the other thing Oda brought up, did we talk about Casablanca Memories yet? No, we have not. Do you remember Casablanca Memories? It's a short story. Oh, my child is right here.
I see. It's very needy.
He is being the most needy child on the planet right now.
I'm surprised
And that chair's
mine-
so comfortable, you don't
Where did mine
understand.
go? Oh, I think she's under the comforter on the bed.
To see your child's elite behaving. Mine's like, we streaming. And then Oda also says in Star, she's doing fortune telling in episode 190 at an amusement park where she does fortune reading for both Sei and Usagi. So that's what else I think we were thinking of.
I don't know if I read this
Yeah, 'cause
one. Was it?
it's a
feel
side
Weren't there a
story.
bunch of short? Yeah, weren't there a bunch of short stories included in the English version of the manga when it finished? Is that kind of
Yeah, it was like its own, they were their own 2 sets of mangas.
okay? Yeah, then maybe I did read it, and I just haven't read it in a
It just,
really long
it's
time. Let me see
focused
if
on her
it's on
backstory and her relationship with her father.
Okay. Yeah, I must have read this, but man, I
Uh,
don't remember.
Yeah, so as a quick plot, I'll try not to read all of it, but like this. On April 17th, Ray's birthday, she is given a bouquet by a boy as she's walking down the street. Usagi sees a note on them and grabs the purse and begins to read it. Meanwhile, Ami comments on how she didn't know it was her birthday. Ray doesn't seem to care about the flowers and forces them onto Usagi. Ray says she isn't interested in boys or flowers and leaves. As she leaves, Ami and Usagi realize because they go to different schools, they don't know much about Ray.
Oh, I do remember this. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So long to summarize.
Yeah. No, I do remember this one because this definitely brings out her dynamic with her dad, and it's not a good one. Yeah.
No, the story takes place after the 3rd chapter, and the other part takes place after the 5th chapter. Yeah, nothing else too interesting.
I do remember it because I remember her confronting, is it his secretary, I think, during
I should
calling
have
pretty
reread
much like calling her dad out through her secretary for all of the issues and the absence, playing rich politician who can't spend quality time, be bothered to spend quality time with his daughter. And I blame her for nothing in any of that. She did.
Yup. Why she distrusts men? Because of her father's assistant.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
No, it's an interesting story. I should have reread it before this episode.
I forgot it existed. And yeah, I definitely,
I was
I
like,
have a
what?
little homework.
like the name, duh. But the actual story did not stick in my head.
It took me until getting to the point where she was having an argument with the assistant. And then I was like, oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, because the assistant always buys her birthday gifts because her dad
Right.
doesn't.
It's
at
always,
all.
it's never, right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
They actually bring that up in PGSM.
Oh, that's
The
right. They do.
assistant is
reference-
Ray's gift, and Ray's no.
Oda also says there's a subplot because she's in love with the assistant, but he's marrying somebody else.
Oh,
Like,
see,
it's
that's what it
like-
was. Okay. He wasn't married to somebody else, but he was marrying some. I remembered there was something there with him being in a relationship or something. This is getting worse. How is this
I
getting
think that's
worse?
more. I think that's more in the Casablanca because she's hearing hints that he might do it in the manga. She's hearing hints about it. There's rumor going around that he's going to. She knows about it that he might be proposing to someone for a political game, and she's like, "Why are you doing this? Like, why are you being a pawn?"
She really wants to be with him. Oda coming in saying, fun fact, Ray's favorite flowers are Casablanca lilies because of her anime voice actor, Michi Tomizawa. When the actresses were hanging out with Naoko, Michi stopped at a flower shop and commented on the Casablanca lilies. And Naoko saw Ray in her and made it canon.
Oh, I love that. That is so sweet. That also explains why so much of Ray's art has lilies in the like. There's that one of her in like her school uniform, like it's just her, and then there's the lilies, I think, on the side, and yeah, and a lot of her like idol and character pictures in the anime, there's lilies on it. Yeah, that's really awesome.
And you're right, Oda, he is a jealous little shit. My son. All right. Do we want to talk about her relationship with Jadeite? Because that is one of the strangest ones to me.
Yeah, I'm definitely the kind of person where I just wanted everybody to be happy. I also think that the Four Kings got done really dirty. And then Mamoru got his happy ending, but like everybody else just turns to dust. And so
That's
it
why
just
we had a whole episode on it because I'm just so angry. The Four Kings deserve better.
saw that when I come up on Instagram and I was like, yes, somebody is talking about it. My feelings. So,
I got
yeah.
long forms about the Kings. So really quick, sorry interrupting cheese. So Sailor Moon Store is doing those little acrylic plates that they do with the characters.
Yeah.
And the theme is Mamoru with the Four Kings.
I love that. I'm so happy that they're getting some love finally.
It was the other day they posted about it and I was like, yes. Give me the Kings.
It was actually, I was rewatching the most recent Crystal movie. Oh my gosh, why is the name? It's just gone. Eternal. Thank you. I was like, Eternal. Wait, is that Stars? No, Stars is the names throwing me off. But yes, I was rewatching it, and I do love that the Kings show in it. That they were given some love and attention. It just made me happy that there was like a quick little throwback. And then I went back and looked at the manga, and I was like, oh, that's right, they were referenced here in the manga. And I just really wish that, I don't know. You never really see the senshi that were betrothed to the Kings interacting with them, and when everybody has their memories, but you do see in Crystal, and I don't even think this was in the manga, and God, it was done so dirty because these were definitely like the first few Crystal episodes that were drawn horribly. Like definitely everything was horrible. And I'm glad that they've gone back and fixed it, but you definitely see Jadeite when he sees Mars. I think before she even becomes Mars, when she's still just like a human and she's passed out at the shrine or something. And he is leaning down and he puts his hand on her cheek and he's just like, why does she feel so familiar? And you see him like rolling with this. And you see it a few times in Crystal in 1 or 2 episodes. And then he dies. Then that's it. And then there's no memories, so there's nobody to mourn. And I feel the same way about all of the other generals too. I feel like there's maybe a scene with Malachite where he and Venus are talking and they're both like, why do you feel familiar during a fight? But yeah, the fact that Mars and Jadeite, it was Mars and Jadeite, Mercury and Zoisite, and then Venus and Malachite and Nephlite and wait, did I get that right?
Yeah, you got it right.
You got it right.
Okay. Yeah. I just was like, I got lost along the way. Yeah, I just wish that we had seen more of that, not just specifically Mars and Jadeite, but just like any of the inner senshi and any of the Four Kings. And I just feel like it's so heartbreaking and so tragic that you don't get to see them interact where they have all of their memories together. And even when some of the memories of the senshi are restored, there's no mourning because by that point the generals are dead, like they have killed them, and there's no dealing with that. I don't know. I feel like there's just such a big important thing there where they were like, oh, this is how it was. And it's okay. Moon and Mamoru got their happy ending and all the side characters just go kick rock.
And reincarnated just as easily.
That's always bothered me. Like he had all of their little stones. Like it just, oh my God. Things that like I've been screaming about since I was a teenager. It's so unfair. So thank you for being in pain with me. I definitely, one of the posters that I had in my bedroom in like high school was like when we had all those like laminated anime and manga posters, and I had so many Sailor Moon ones, but I specifically had the manga one that has all of the inners with all of the kings behind them, like holding them, and I was
Aw.
just like, "Oh, my feelings."
Me
Yeah.
every time because I'm like, this is bullshit.
It was back at KatsuCon 20. It was the first year it had moved to the Gaylord. I'm trying to remember what year that was. I don't remember if that was like 2010 or 2011, but like my friends and I had done a pretty big Sailor Moon group that turned into an even bigger Sailor Moon group because at that point, like KatsuCon was not at the level of attendees that it is now. So we ended up like accidentally starting the Sailor Moon group at KatsuCon. We had filled out the full cast of Senshi, and then we had the Sailor Stars. We had most of the villains, and then we started filling side characters. We were just grabbing friends on LiveJournal. Hey, do you want to do this? And so we also had all 4 generals, and my girlfriend at the time dressed as Jedi. And so was the Jedi to my Mars, and we took pictures, and it still just stays with me where we took like pictures like with Jedi holding Mars and things like that. And I was like, we should have had this in the animes. Anyway, I'll die on this hill. Thank you for being on this hill with me. I appreciate it. Most of my friends are like, oh boy, there goes Kiara.
No, that's what the show is for.
Yeah,
We're here to deep dive.
hyper fixation
love
on
that.
Sailor. Thank you for making this a safe space for that.
No, and then Uda brings up an interesting question. Do you think their gems are their sailor crystals?
A good question, because it was always like the gems that they all were, and I feel like I don't know. Yeah, I feel like if they could have been reincarnated through that, they should have been, right?
Mama's poor pocket rocks.
Yeah, I'm like, where's the face? I'm like, Mother, what did you do with that? Did you just put it on your dresser and forget about it? Oh, I don't know, man. There's just like some human soul.
They do have a shrine in Crystal Tokyo that the rocks sit on a pretty pillow.
Yeah. But you could do something with them. Like, how hard is this?
Because you have to think of it. Usagi wakes up the entire world after it's been frozen and makes Crystal Tokyo, but you can't reincarnate some freaking pocket rock.
I like that we've adopted the term pocket rock, but this was a specific decision. This feels petty, Usagi. I'm just gonna say it.
Your girls need their boys and they can't have them.
Yeah. Think about how much prettier the weddings will be if they're all there. Come on.
To be fair, Nephrite did have really pretty hair.
That's why you got with Jupiter.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the good hair club.
Yeah.
10.
Oh my god, Odago and Usagi, you have magical MacGuffin that can break laws of physics. You can't revive your friend's dead boyfriend.
You could have done it
Or your boyfriend's BFFs. Like, that was his squad. Come on.
done it in the Galaxy Cauldron when she brought everybody back.
Yeah.
True.
Plenty of opportunity. This is now a 4 Kings discussion. Sorry, Mars. I have a lot of feelings about this.
She would have had her Jedi and she could have bossed him
She
around.
would have. Yeah. It's
Did
yeah,
see
I'm-
the artworks that they did for the scouts with the kings, but in everyday life.
no,
that was
I would
brilliant.
cry. I would cry.
I think it was a
I'm
fan
sure
art.
they
I don't know if it
did.
was official art, but they did Venus with Malachite. I think they
Okay.
did each of the kings with them in like everyday life. And I think Jedi was like shopping with Mars.
Oh, that sounds familiar. I think I saw it on Instagram like a month ago or something like that. It was a more recent piece of art, right?
No, it was a while ago. It was like
Oh,
back.
okay. Maybe it was a
It was
repost
very
account.
crystal art style.
Yeah, I must have just recently seen it. It was sometime this year, but I do remember them shopping. But it was like a modern day, like they were in like modern day outfits and stuff, right?
Yeah, they were. And I was like, why couldn't we have had this? Like in real life. This is bullshit.
Everybody.
Like-
Oda,
would
we're
have
going to
been
get right
happy.
to that in a second because I want to talk about Chad. But I just want to point out Jadeite is the biggest little bitch of the 4 couples.
Which is why
He's
he's
the
perfect for
twink.
Mars.
Every
Because
group-
he would let Mars
Every
step
group
on
needs
him.
a twink, and Jadeite is the twink of the group. And that says a lot because Zoisite is there.
Jadeite to me, like none of his plans work. The 4 Kings don't even try to sabotage him. He's too.
Oh my God,
nice
you're
to
right.
do
They don't.
sabotage.
Everybody just leave. I was just going, this is just a plot thing, like why they're not introducing anybody else and like why everyone's leaving him alone. But it's clearly that they're just like, I don't worry, man. I don't know. It feels bad to pick on him. He's just going to do it himself.
I mean, like he's gonna fuck it up and die anyway. It's gonna be fine.
Because Mars needs a pretty
And-
boy that she can step on. And
Yeah,
Jedi would
that's
let it happen
definitely
and
the way
thank
their
her
dynamic is gonna
afterwards. He'd be like, "Thank you, my queen."
That is exactly how their dynamic would work or work. We
Mars-
won't know because we didn't get to see it. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm not bitter. I'm
fine.
handling this very well.
Yeah.
Emotions.
She needs a man that's just like, "My queen, I worship the ground you walk on." And Jadeite would have done that.
Yep.
She would have.
It probably would have fixed his wardrobes because some of his fit through.
He definitely had some choices in a lot of his disguises. Yeah.
Oh my god! And I'd be like, Zoisite isn't a Twinkie. The
That
queen.
is fair. That is
Agreed.
fair.
And then, yeah, PGSM does show Jadeite likes being a little bitch to a strong.
Yeah, look, you all are just selling me on PGSM. I definitely need to watch it.
So
Make
good.
sure you
It's
have
so
like
good.
all the snacks though, because hours are gonna go by and you're gonna be like,
What happened?
"What year is it?"
Like
Because
the
those
sun's gonna go
episodes
down and
are
come
hours-
back.
those episodes are like 45 to 50 minutes long.
And it's a healthy show. It's a long show.
Yeah, it's 42 episodes.
Oh my gosh. That is
Um, but it didn't get renewed, which is bullshit.
So does it just end on a cliffhanger? Should I be prepared for a cliffhanger?
It doesn't
Be
end on a
prepared
cliff.
for it.
Kind of they wrapped it up like a season 1 wrap up. That's kind of where your story's gonna end for them.
Okay.
But they have special Usagi and Mamoru get married in the special? Something like
Yes,
that.
something like that.
They have, I think, 1 or 2 specials for it, and
Okay, there we go. He would have got it. 23 minutes an episode, 49 acts, a 60-minute finale movie, and 3 mini episodes.
Oh,
those episodes seem a lot longer than 23 minutes.
Yeah, I thought they were 41 too.
It's
Right.
like, really?
Can we talk a little bit more about Chad? Because I really like Chad.
Chad.
You want to talk about a man who worships the ground Rei walks on?
Yeah. Yep. There is nothing that man would not do for her, which they prove.
But he's
But the big-
only in the 90s anime. That's
Yeah.
the only place he exists.
Yeah.
But I love him. Like, how can you not love Chad? He tries so damn hard and fails every time.
He does, but the heart is there. It's all in the heart. Yeah. I definitely, as much as I love Mars and Jedi, I definitely have to say that Chad is definitely one of probably the healthiest love interest that she's had. And I think that's maybe why they gave him to her. But you do see he is definitely on the end of receiving her screaming and sassing and everything like that. And he deals with it because he loves her. And you definitely see the conflict too, where he doesn't know if she's returning those feelings or not, but that's not why he's doing it. He's because he cares about her. He even goes through with trying to change himself to being what he thinks she might like. And so seeing that relationship grow and change, I thought was, I don't know, it made it realistic for me because they're teenagers. And that's definitely, as you're navigating relationships and things, that's how you evolve and you grow. I also love that you have Mars, who is this, and Chad does not know this, that I have to say his name like that. I can't say it properly. You've got Mars, who is this super powered soldier from another planet, and he doesn't know that. And he ends up, somebody was attacking the shrine. I can't remember if it was a Yoma or if it was like a specific enemy, but he runs in to try to protect her and gets his ass just handed to him. Like just flat out gets his ass kicked all around the shrine. And she's like the last person there that needs protection. But I feel like that it says so much. Granted, the fact that he doesn't know,
Cohen.
but like the fact that like it was Cohen. Okay. Yeah. The fact that like his heart was in the right place. And then it was all over the shrine because she wiped the floor with it. So.
It's so true. And what it points out the fact he gets dedicated filler episodes up until
Yeah,
season.
he does. Yeah.
Someone in the writer's room really loved Chad.
I just want to know what the decision was to give him that like California Valley guy surfer voice. And then the hair isn't that because it also fits in with his like himbo dynamic, like his
Love
himbo
it.
personality.
He's a total himbo.
Also because he was like the mover, the nomad.
Yeah, the bum or whatever. But yeah, just I don't know, like that leftover grunge rock 70s hippie kind of thing.
He's like the best himbo in the series.
He is. Chad is wholesome and perfect, and I love him, and I will hear no bad things about Chad.
I also found the fan arts I was talking about because they're
Ooh,
fan
they
arts.
share.
Hold on. So they did it in crystal art. So here's
That's so sweet.
them, and then there's one for
Oh,
There's one for all the scouts. So the
cute.
artist was Kakashin. That's a very long name. Vindabramanku. So there was an artist in Thailand.
That is so pretty. I love the one down there as well. I don't know if it's the same artist of her in her princess dress.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, that's thanks. Go back to the other image. Loda points out they also have Jadeite wearing Minako's colors. That's definitely
Oh,
intentional.
here it
Oh
is.
yeah.
These
So
are all
cute.
of them.
See, we could have had this. Everybody could have been happy. I'm just saying.
Just saying.
Everybody could have been happy.
Screw that.
Could have been just
We were
so happy.
robbed.
Look at this. We could have had this. We could have had this.
robbed. Yep.
No,
So
we're just not gonna.
robbed.
We're not gonna
Yeah.
allow it. Oh, okay.
It's like put your tip away.
So yeah, we could have had
He's
that, and
bleaching
then
his
now we
roots. It's his hair bleaching shirt. Where the one you don't care if it gets bleach on and you ruin it.
There you go. Hey, everybody, we're back for part 2 of The Fire Within Sailor Mars for Eternal Mooncast, episode 5 of season 3. We have our guest, Chiara, here with us, and we are talking everything and anything Sailor Mars.
So I think we were going to move into the crows.
Yes.
Yes.
It's
My
just so,
favorite people.
Best
Oh.
beat.
I think it's interesting because in the 90s anime, they were there, but they weren't really characters.
I don't even think
Yeah.
they had names in the 90s anime.
I definitely remember them having names because I loved Mars so much that I had gone and bought during Halloween. They had all these different like Halloween decorations at Michael's. And I had gone and bought like 2 life-size crows and I put them on my curtain rod over. I had 2 windows in my bedroom and I put one over each curtain rod. And I remember naming one Phobos and one Deimos. And at the time, the manga wasn't. So I really think in the anime, they must have mentioned them at some point. They do because there's a scene where they attack somebody to protect her and she calls them out by name when they.
Yeah, I remember that.
It must have been like one moment.
I think it is actually. And I knowing me, I must have gone onto cities or like any of the other websites and the shrines and whatnot and found their names that way. But I do remember her calling out to them in the deep dub at least once.
Oh, or as backing you up, saying it was in her debut episode when
It
they
wasn't the first episode. Okay, cool. Great memory. Wow.
was here for us.
Walking Sailor Moon encyclopedia. That is fantastic. I love that.
So they're her guardians, and they also have an adorable human form.
Yeah, the manga, I definitely remember seeing it online first before I even noticed it in the manga. I don't think they got introduced until I think it was like Super S. Actually, it is Super S. It's the scene where I keep referencing it, the same scene over and over, but it's where they right before each senshi gets her henshin abilities. And in all of the other senshi, they have a smaller version of themselves, giving the new crystal and the new like henshin to the senshi. But Mars has Phobos and Deimos, giving her hers.
Time to transform. Here is your Mars crystal.
The Mars crystal.
My Mars crystal.
And I thought that was like really cool that like her guardian spirits were there backing her up. And then because even before Sailor Moon, I was definitely that Greek mythology kid. I feel like everybody had to pick like a subclass of who you were in like middle school, right? Of like, what's your hyper focus going to be? Oh yeah, no, you're totally neurotypical. Absolutely. And mine was, I think, a lot of queer femmes, Greek mythology. So I remember when she called out to them and hearing their names, I was like, oh, those are the moons for the planet, which I thought was really cool. And I thought it was really cool that they wrote them to be her guardian spirits based on those being the names of the moons for Mars. But yeah, I definitely love that like it established that they're actually 2 cute little girls, like one in a purple leotard and one in a red leotard, and they're adorable. I forget the type of hairstyle, but like with the buns with the hair that coming down out of the buns. It's
like
Part of the
traditional,
Chinese hairstyle that they
yeah,
have.
it's a traditional Chinese hairstyle. I just don't know the name.
I'll pull them up.
It's such a cute design, and they have these cascading bows and whatnot. And so I love that they made their appearance in the manga with their human form. And then, of course, like in Crystal, because Crystal's mostly following the manga, you see their human forms animated. And I thought that was really sweet. And then Michi had actually pointed out, I forgot this, that they have a scene. Yeah, there it is. Their little cute little outfit.
So cute.
Adorable. I love them. They are definitely, I love obscure cosplays. They have been on my cosplay list forever. And you can't do one without the other. So I just haven't cosplayed them. I just want one friend who just wants to be the other one. I also love anything that involves twins. I did Lethem and Nemesis. I had several friends that wanted to do those with me. And I can't find another friend who wants to be Mars's obscure crow human form. And
I mean, they are just wearing a bodysuit. I think that
they
that
are,
might
and to
make
be
people
fair,
be like,
when I
"It looks
decided
like
to do
a
this, I was
suit."
in my early 20s, and the rest of my friends were also in their early 20s. So we were a little more comfortable wearing those things then. But yeah, I actually forgot until Michi had pointed it out when we were talking the other day that in Sailor Stars, they have a conversation with Iron Crow. Or no, I'm sorry, Light Crow. Oh
Like
my
Crow.
gosh. I'm trying not to cough and my brain is crossing wires, where they recognize each other and that they're actually like from the same, like all crows know each other. I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but they're very social creatures. I love that they established that like they recognized each other and that there might be crow turf wars going on. So I really appreciated that they gave that. There were certain things that they should have given more time to, but they definitely gave that it deserved.
I do that they're not in like the way with the shrine, the crows were welcomed. They
Yeah.
weren't like shunned. So where in other religions and stuff, crows are, oh, that's your bad omen. Someone's dying.
Yeah. Especially I think in
Where
a
with
lot of Christian, backgrounds.
I
It's
love
just,
them.
oh, here's the sign of the flood, and the dove is the good bird, and the crow is the bad bird. And yeah, it's definitely interesting seeing how their species is regarded in each religion and each cultural background. But I also just love that Ray says before each of the senshi are going through, I think it's in the R movie, each of the senshi are going through their own introspective moments of like all the times that Usagi was there for them. I think it's when they're on the comet and Mars is going back to, oh, before Usagi, I didn't have any friends. My only friends were Phobos and Deimos were crows. And the fact that she had that relationship with them and also just, you never know. I think it's Mars can understand them. I don't know if it's hinted at because it's her, when it has to do with her psychic powers or if that's just part of her sailor sentiability. It's clear that they have conversations and that she knows that they're more than just pets to her.
Yes.
Which is very important.
And honestly, that reveal with Lead Crow that they're from the same planet, it is scandal. Crow fight.
Yeah.
It's just so interesting because that is implying that Crow betrayed her people.
Oh yeah, huge
And
betrayal.
Usagi.
Absolutely.
I do think it's interesting that you have the crows also coming from another planet, just the cats.
Yeah.
And so I think it's interesting that you have the solar system, our solar system brought these other guardians, like essentially these guides to go to these princesses. Why weren't they going to, were they going to other galaxies or was our galaxy so special that it attracted planet Mao and planet, I guess it was Coronus for the crows?
Or I'll put it in the chat. I
Yeah.
I
That
put
they
it.
decided to come over and help two different
Yeah, because you don't see that connection with, you do see it with obviously Venus, but you don't really see that with Ani or Makoto. You don't see that type or any of the outers actually either. It's really just Venus, Mars, and Moon.
Wait, Lead Crows is a pun name?
Really?
It is?
Wait, are all of them pun names?
I wouldn't put it past Naoko.
Is it a pun name? Is it something that works in translation, or that works in Japanese, but it doesn't work in translation?
Okay, here we go. In the anime, Sailor Lead Crow used the pseudonym Akane Karasuma. Akane meaning matter, a shade of red, and Karasu meaning crow, making her name mean Red Crow, a pun on Lead Crow.
Oh, okay. I can see that. Okay.
Nice. Oh, that's funny.
And that explains her hair and her color scheme too. I always just wrote all of that off as whenever in any of the seasons, whenever you have any of not the main big bad, but any of the other like underling enemies, they always seem to have senshi counterparts to them. And I just wrote that off as, oh, okay, Lead Crow is Mars's, and therefore that's why she's red. That's why she has red hair, and that's why she has this like red and black and gold color scheme. So I didn't realize it was everything working on a pun. That's really cute.
I love the puns. I'm here for the
I
dad
am not a
jokes.
pun person, but I can appreciate good puns, but they also hurt me.
No, thank you, Loki, for that. And then Oda says Phobos and Deimos being chosen by the Princess of Mars with venom behind it. So maybe it's a prestigious thing, is what Leg Crow does talk about. So maybe they're like inherited.
Maybe, or there was just some kind of jealousy that she thought passed over or something. I'm not sure.
I'm telling you, give me a Sailor Moon prequel
Oh my God.
with
I keep
galactic
hoping.
politics.
You have no idea. I keep hoping that every time Naoko, they're like, oh, new art coming or a new project announced by Naoko. And I'm just like either hoping for a sequel that follows Chibi Moon or a prequel that sets everything up of what happened before in the Moon Kingdom. Let's be
I
honest,
don't
if
even
people
think
like
Naoko
funny.
knows what fucking happened. I think she just threw it together.
Oh, I agree. I think Naoko was like, look, I have a really good deal here and I want to make something for little girls and we're just going to keep going. We're just going to keep making it as we go. But yeah, I'm looking at this and I'm like, man, if you guys really like money, you would definitely have an entire generation, more than one generation throwing cash at you if you did something like this. Like it would
Bro,
become
do a
entire.
Kickstarter, it would be funded in under an hour.
Oh my God. Yeah.
5
absolutely.
minutes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I just keep thinking like, if do you like money? Because this would be really easy to do if you liked money. That would just do
You must have
hyperfixation.
so much already. Trust me, we have begged on the show for a sequel or a
We
prequel.
deserve. I feel like after everything that our generation has been through, all the crises and everything, we deserve this.
Yeah. No, that's an interesting part that Oda brings up, considering the manga was supposed to end with the Dark Kingdom and it was pressured from her publisher to keep going. It checks out. Because she just wanted them all to fucking die.
Tragic
Holiday.
one story, one season story.
I know, and instead they're like, no, wait, this is really good.
Wait, the teenagers are buying this. Don't.
We're doing something right.
And then they made the show for little girls, and I'm like,
And then they switched it in stars to
yeah,
adults.
I was like closer to stars because it started getting more mature as
I think
it
when they brought
started.
Ikuhara on, it definitely got more mature.
We just need to do another Ikuhara deep dive. Oh, that man. But do we want anything else about Phobos and Deimos?
Can't
Other
think. We
than
should
they were
probably keep
adorable.
it going because I could talk for a while as a Gemini.
The 3 hours goes extremely quick on this show. Loki coming in, Sailor Moon to Naoko is like Sherlock Holmes to Not wrong. And all right, personality and aspirations is what we thought we'd talk about. Which we touched a little bit on. Does she want to be a priestess? Does she want to be an idol? But she has a fantastic work.
Yeah, and I think she actually talks about also just how she is in school and how good her grades are. And I think that's also a point of contention that her and Usagi argue about a lot. She's like, how are you so stupid? This was so easy. Although I think it also shows that she sleeps off while studying. Like there's plenty of scenes where all of the girls are together doing like a study group or whatever. And obviously Usagi is like reading manga or something. And the other girls are trying. And of course, Ami is just like helping everybody. But I don't know. Yeah, I think Rei definitely has that drive to be successful in whatever she sets her mind to. There's definitely a lot of passion and a lot of motivation there. Yeah, I feel like we covered her career aspect pretty well. And I feel like we've also talked about her personality pretty extensively.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about her psychic powers?
I feel like we touched on that a little bit. I do wish that, like Azira was saying, they're definitely more played up in the manga, and I do wish that we got in the anime. I feel like Mars is almost a double whammy where she is a super senshi, but she also is psychic on top of that. Just it's not like she was psychic because she's a senshi, because if that was the case, the others would also have that ability. Like they all have the ability to jump tall buildings in a single bound and things like that. Take a lightning bolt to the face and be fine. Yeah.
I do have something for you to chew on though.
Okay.
This is slightly in the manga, they reference it, but it is in the show. Her and Neptune both being the psychics.
Yeah, I forgot. Michiru has that ability as well. And I wonder, I'm always curious. I was curious why if that was just like, some people have these abilities, and what are the odds that 2 people on the same team have the ability? Or was it a planetary thing? Because so many of them have inherited traits of their planets. Yeah, I was always curious because they never really go into it as much with Neptune, but you do see that as almost like and it was another thing that I wondered if they did that to have her be a foil to Rei, especially in the episode where it's Rei and Michiru and I forget,
It's against Nehelenia.
is it Jupiter and Uranus where they get separated, but they end up in
Mercury and
Mercury.
Uranus.
Mercury
yeah,
and
okay.
Uranus.
Yeah. And it's just you definitely see the foils there. Absolutely. But you also they definitely in that season play up a lot of Rei's psychic powers. So then introducing Neptune and her powers. Yeah, I felt like they were trying to have a contrast to Rei there.
Um, Loki does bring up a point because fire and mirrors are used as scrying. So you got fire for Mars, and then you have
Oh,
the
that's
mirror
true.
for Neptune because
Yeah.
she tends to look in the mirror when she's reading stuff. But
Mhm.
it's interesting the way she describes hers. She's like, the tides are changing. Like she refers to the ocean a lot or water when something's going on. I sense something bad because the tides have changed. But like, even comparing them, I feel like Neptune more has, like, a sense, like a sixth sense more, while Mars actually sees stuff. Like, Neptune sees stuff in her mirror,
She gets vibes
but
and actual
she's, like,
premonition.
more livid on vibes,
Mhm.
and I think that's their conflict in that one episode is I think that Neptune had a better vibe meter than Mars has, because Mars has more of the prophetic. Like, that's what hers are, but I find that interesting because they do have that little headbutt about who's got the better
Yeah. That like competition.
foresight when it comes
Yeah.
to that. I'm like, "You both are good in your own ways."
Okay, but my favorite scene is whenever they're trying to figure out what direction to go and they both
Oh,
point the opposite.
then Mars just sits there and laughs while Neptune is cradling her head.
I
I
know.
see that screenshot so often. I use it. I'm like, this is me compared to my friend. Like the loud laughter, making a complete ass out of yourself. All your friends are like, oh my God, please stop.
I love it so much.
That is such a good episode. And I feel like it brings out a lot of dichotomies of all of those characters. And Ikuhara definitely did things like that, which I really appreciated about his directorial ability. But like Mars also reads like she spends a lot of time in the shrine meditating and looking at like the bonfire there to get a lot of things from it too. And I do that it's also it's what the fire versus water type of thing. So they're
Mhm.
polar opposites, even though they're two sides of the same coin, even though they're polar opposites. Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's okay, rabbit hole real quick. I promise this will be a 5-minute rabbit hole. Odaga comes in saying where Michiru says that Rei's relationship with Usagi is like Michiru's relationship with Haruka. Low key, I've read some fan fictions where Mars and Usagi are together and they were low key fantastic. It was like
It's one of the ships because of their
that's
arguing. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
it's like a hate chip
I can see that.
of like it's an interesting pairing up, but the one I read it was in Crystal Tokyo. They had been alive for 1,000 years and Mars was like her like girlfriend.
after 1,000 years, if all of them aren't poly at that point, we got some issues.
Yeah, everyone in the show is gay.
They started establishing it with the outer senshi, right? Hotaru has 3 moms, but then it just goes from there.
Yeah.
We didn't really touch on burning love, really.
I do want to talk about it because that was probably one of my first ships before I knew what ships were when I was like 11 or 12. And heteros, completely straight.
Yeah.
Outer 12, and I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I just like Mars and Venus. There's a dichotomy there. And then the more I read in the manga, especially in Superstars, I was like, oh, this is absolutely confirmed. Yeah, it's absolutely gay. Yeah.
Especially because they picture Mars and Venus together a lot,
Yeah.
like
Well,
back to
and not
back.
only that, but like Naoko drew them in a lot of art together and with their body language in ways that did not seem platonic at all. No, I'm definitely on that ship, which
They
I
were
think is really
friends.
I knew because I knew a lot of friends that like were trying to pair up, and I think it's just because the art would do this a lot. Like they would put Venus and Jupiter and then Mars and Mercury together, but I could never see Mars and Mercury being a thing personally. If that is your ship, no harm, no foul. It just for me, Venus and Mars seemed so much more interesting. And then just again with so many hints in the comics and in the art, I
It's
just was
funny
like,
because
I'm just
stars, they kind of Mercury and Jupiter with them dancing.
Oh, yeah, I love that scene. Yeah.
It
I
was
was like,
in Supers
Yeah.
because it was Tiger's Eye.
oh, there we go.
Yeah.
The club. And I was like, oh,
Okay.
Feelings.
And the
no,
that's
point
a
out.
Venus and Mars also being the whole
I never
Aphrodite is an Aries thing.
I never considered that in, like, the 20+ years I have been engaging with Sailor Moon. I'm very
Now
upset.
you're like,
Literally, I need to sit down. I literally never thought about, like, the Greek aspect of that, but that works out perfectly. Yeah.
And then just a PGSM campaign more. Oda says, I didn't ship Senshi together until PGSM, where Burning Heart is all but canon.
So everything that I'm getting from this stream is I have done myself a disservice by not trying to PGSM past was like
correct.
a freshman in college. I think that was the last time. And I was like, this is too hard to track down, or it would be like an 8th generation version of it where I couldn't even read the subtitles. So I need to go back and I need to make more effort. I need to watch it.
It is so worth it.
We've gotten so many guests. We're like, why haven't you watched this?
I definitely need to
Watch it.
Homework.
And then you'll be like emailing, you'll be like, you're right.
It's
Thank you
now
so much.
time for me to info dump about all of my feelings.
Oh, I forgot about that. I actually just watched that episode. Oda says in season 1 plays with Rei X Ami, the cruise ship episode where Rei wins tickets to a couple's
Oh, that's
cruise.
right. Yeah.
She takes Ami as her date. That's a little gay, right?
It's a little gay, just a little, right? I also do love that Ray's like coping mechanism where she was like, if I can't find a boyfriend, I'm just going to eat. And she's just like at the buffet shoving her face with food. And I was like, that is a move.
That is
not on the boyfriend thing, but like on the I'm on a cruise and I'm going to go ham on the free.
Free buffet. Let's go.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
all right. Oh, just something interesting that we talked about, and I just want to always touch on it. It is so interesting that she's a Shinto priestess, but she goes to a Catholic high school.
I think that I had forgotten that the school that she went to was a Catholic school. I just was like, oh, it's private. And it's in Japan, so why would religion be involved? That only happens
Because that's the
here.
only it's an all-girls school. So it's
I
like,
definitely feel
Catholic
like
school.
that is it is an all-girls school, which is funny because my family definitely put me in private Catholic school. And look how I turned out. So when I came out to my family, they were just like, this was back in like, what, 2003, 2004. They were like, we just need to know, did we do anything? And I was like, yeah, you remember when you put me in Catholic school? That's not what but I just needed to throw that in there while you guys are trying to understand this. Yeah. Hilarious. Hilarious and heterospect. Yeah, I have to say, especially now after we had that discussion about her father and everything, the beliefs that her mom, which were definitely like heavily invested in the shrine, and then the beliefs that her father had, which is his career and political moves. I feel like her being enrolled in a private school was definitely something that came from her dad, and he's clearly the one that pays for it. So I feel like maybe that's also why it was like, it's something that's at odds with the shrine and who she wants to be, but he's paying for her education. So she's going to roll with it.
Yeah. No, I agree. Because like Oda says, my headcanon is that she goes to a Catholic school because
Oh,
of
yeah,
daddy's
there we go.
money. And it makes them look good.
Yep.
Oh my God. And then the rest of the comments go into debauchery. Oh my God.
I have the Twitch stream up on my other monitors. So yeah, because where my camera's at, I can't see my full screen.
I think that like another the main reason is because her dad has money. So you're
Yeah.
going to send her to a private Catholic school that's all girls.
Which he thinks is protecting her and his investment as he
Mhm.
sees it, I'm sure.
And like we were saying, because of the mom's beliefs with the shrine and everything, why not send her to a Catholic school to try and see if you can pull her away from the Shinto mindset? Because maybe she won't want to be a priestess anymore and she'll come back.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting.
And she's like, you dad.
Yeah.
I'll
Yep.
go to the school, I'm going to be top of my class, but I'm still going to be a priestess.
And maybe gay. Maybe. Love it.
I love it so much, gay. And then, did we want to talk about her Fuku evolution?
Yeah, for Katsu this year, because I do one Sailor Mars cosplay a year. My friends and I, just every KatsuCon, we do a Sailor Moon group. We decided to do the prototype uniforms this year. And let me tell you, There is one drawing, one sketch that Naoko did of all of the prototypes, and you can tell that there's a reason why it's called prototype. Like the amount of times while I was trying to translate this thing into 3D or make it exist in our world, the amount of times that I said WTF Naoko were astronomical. Like the bow, have the shoulders, and honestly, like
She had, like,
Ray's is one of
armor?
yeah, Ray's is one of the easier ones. We did not have a Jupiter in our group, and I understand why. Jupiter's is the weirdest fit of all of them. But definitely looking at a lot of the styling on the prototype design and seeing what influenced or made the manga Fuku designs, because everybody's series Fuku are pretty standard. The only difference is like the color change. Yeah, this thing makes absolute sense at
Like,
all. Like
what?
if you pull up my Instagram, Michi, and you scroll down a little bit, you might be able to see the costume that I made. But
Yeah.
translating that thing into real life was like that bow. That bow took me a whole day of patterning to get the tails and whatnot to look like that.
What
It was
even is that bow?
I don't know. All of their bows are different too. Like all of their bows are styled completely differently. It's the shoulders were definitely the weirdest choice. Like poor Jupiter doesn't even have. It's not even that her because some of the Senshi have their midriff bearing, but poor Jupiter is just in a bra and then a low rise skirt. Like it's such a weird design. But yeah, the Senshi's series one Fuku is it's pretty standard. But like the manga Fuku, there's definitely some stylistic differences.
Oh,
Yeah, I
so
think that's
cute.
the one, which I don't even know if you could zoom in. Probably not.
I can't.
But
Sorry.
translating that bow, that was not and the shoulders, I think we made them out of Foss shape. And then lame, we actually found a use for lame. I actually ended up finding I had it here because I hadn't cleaned off my desk since I sewed for Katsuka. I have this like little my camera's gonna focus on it, this little like moon crescent strip because that
Ooh.
is repeating on Mars's she's got like a series of upside down and right side up crescent that go on her shoulders and then that go down the bodice. I think all the Senshi have moon symbols throughout them in their prototype designs. It has a lot, obviously. But yeah, it's definitely poor Jupiter's outfit. I just can't get over it.
What even is? It's like
Definitely.
feathers?
I am not surprised that we could not find it, that like nobody that we knew wanted to be Jupiter. Like, and
I
I
know.
don't at all. But if you look at like their bows, like Venus's is like a scarf, which is pretty
Mhm.
standard. But then even how Mercury's bow is shaped is completely different from how Mars is shaped. And then Moon has the more traditional one. I feel like Moon's had the least amount of changes.
Yeah.
Venus's outfit definitely like later becomes pretty close to Sailor V's outfit. There's definitely tweaks and what there, but yeah, this is definitely choices.
Grease is low key cute though.
Mercury's is super cute, and our Mercury, she did a great job on hers. The photos are being edited, so we're still waiting on Gayo's back. She's HSC Abby. I think you know her.
Yes, I
Yeah,
do.
she was such a good Mercury. She translated the outfit perfectly. It was so adorable. But yeah, you definitely see in the manga, like I think she keeps one of her, I think was it her family gem? I'm trying to remember that she's
It's her
got
mother's necklace.
her mother's brooch, and that's sitting on the belt of her Fuku individual. Oh yeah, does she have that in that too? I love that. Does Venus keep her belt on
She
her?
does.
So does Jupiter.
Okay. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Does Jupiter keep her little antenna?
Antenna.
Only when she's using her power.
Okay. Gotcha. It's really cool to see like how the design went from the prototype designs to the model designs and then to the standard series designs. And then I think from there, everybody just pretty much had uniform growth
Mhm.
in theirs, like same
I
types.
think they told Naoko, they were like, "Hey, you
We
need to
people have
be
to
more
animate
uniform
this.
with these."
People have to draw this over
Like
and over a lot. Can we make this easy?
Yeah. I guarantee you her, like, help was like, "Absolutely not, Naoko. We know.
We're
We
not
can help
drawing
you."
900 little circles and 900 little crescent moons all over everything.
No, I like it's crazy. And then yeah, PGSM is true to the manga. 90s anime, they just simplified it.
In
Also,
Crystal, they tried bringing it back a little
I
bit.
know. I
but
was actually sitting here
ongoing.
trying to remember in Crystal. I think she has the gem in some promo shots, but I don't think I think after that they made their uniforms similar across the board.
yeah. And then of course she keeps her iconic red heels throughout the
Oh, yeah.
entirety of
The
everything.
red heels, and especially in the manga, like the one thing that I really liked was that she was the only one drawing bright red lipstick. That was just such a character choice. And I feel like that also spoke to her maturity and her elegance was just through coloring her lips red and putting all the other girls in pink. I thought that was in the manga like a really honestly, even in just the black and white art inside, like her lips would be darker than the others. So yeah, between the lipstick and the heels, very classic, iconic Mars symbols. It's so iconic that she writes it into her punishment speech when she's coming onto the scene to talk to a villain, and she says something like, "What in bright red heels, I'll chastise you." Like it's, "I'll bathe you in the flames of Mars and chastise you," or something like that. Like she has to be stylish while she's kicking your ass. So
Yes,
just so you know,
Absolutely.
these Louboutins are going to be all over you, and then you're going to burn.
yes. And then Oda says it might have been in concept art, but she doesn't have it anywhere in Crystal proper.
Oh, the gem. Okay. I feel like, yeah, I definitely feel like in some of the promotional art, I thought I remembered seeing it, and I don't remember seeing it during the series, but also like we were talking about, those first few episodes of Crystal were
They were rough.
They
those,
were garbage.
those were
Let's be
dark
honest,
days.
they were garbage.
Dark days.
I remember
Um,
watching it. I was like, "What the fuck is this?" I'm excited, but what did I just watch?
you
Why is
guys
this so badly
Yes.
drawn?
We were living off crumbs, and then we got it, and we were like, I guess this is okay.
I'll choke this down. It's fine.
Yeah, I have to eat.
I was very upset. I remember ranting about it. I was like, "What did I just?" I was happy about it, but I was like, also,
Did it have to? Did you have to do this? You could tell it was rushed. I felt so bad for the animators.
so I was complaining from the start the fact that it was going to be an internet show. I
Oh,
was
I
like,
didn't
"Why
catch
isn't
that
it going
part.
to air?"
Ooh.
Yeah, it was supposed to be internet only.
Wow,
That
I
was
did
it.
not.
yeah, they
That's
didn't think
why it was
Scale
so
would
bad.
carry.
Wow.
That they were like, "Oh, this will be streaming based instead of airing on TV."
Mhm.
And I think it was only like I think after season 1 though, it started actually being on TV again. But they were like, "Oh, we're gonna make this streaming show based beepity beep," and I was like, "But why?"
Why would
You
you make that decision with? Why would you do that with such a classic title? Just more decisions, more choices and decisions happening.
More choices.
Yeah.
All right. What else do we want to go over about her? Been through our outline.
Trying to think what else we've discussed because we've gone over so much. She's such a complex character, and I love that we're doing a deep dive on that. Oh, speaking of like her outfit transformation, the hair color, I feel in the manga, her hair is very obviously a purple to a dark purple, depending on like how Naoko's painting her. But in the 90s anime, it's black hair with purple highlights. And then later on, it's red as like dark purple hair. But if you look at the prototype art, it's just, there's no purple hints whatsoever in that. And so when I was doing the prototype costume, I was in the group chat with my friend. I could use my regular Mars wig, which is like a dark purple wig.
Yeah.
It was like,
Mhm.
or I could just get a black wig because I use the Venus wig from Arta, just because it has that really nice anime 90s bangs crown. And I was
Yep.
like, or I could just get one in black. I was like, and have that work just as well because I don't think there's any hints in here in the prototype art. Sagi's hair is different too. It's a light pink. I think all the other Senshi are pretty much the same, although Neptune's hair is definitely, it's not like a dark blue like it is in the anime. It's definitely like a lighter. But yeah, I just think it's interesting that they decided to add her other accent color into her hair.
That is interesting.
Yeah, because in Crystal, she was more of that dark purple hair.
Yeah.
That's what they gave her.
Yeah, which is more reflected in the manga as opposed to like the 90s anime where, yeah, it was black with purple highlights where you go, okay, do I interpret this as black? Do I interpret this as a dark purple? Like things that every Mars cosplayer has asked themselves when that was all that we had. Yeah, the prototype was definitely like just straight black hair with, I think, white lights in it.
And then Oda come in with a couple comments. With hindsight, the episode 2 finished production the day episode 1 debuted. I'm a lot more lenient with my criticism, and it took until season 3 to get put on TV.
That's why season 1 and 2 were such trash.
Yeah, they went back and fixed it, but I think they went back and fixed it because everybody bullied them and was having like a fit over just how terrible.
Literally what it was.
Yeah.
People were
And
like,
then
"This is trash. Fix it."
it is trash. Like,
It's another example that if you bully execs, like with Sonic movie, you get a much better. It's okay to bully rich people.
And then Oda says, if you want to talk hair, then PGSM has you covered again. They have natural hair when civilians and their manga hair when trans.
Oh, I love that. I do
Yeah,
think I remember seeing, is it Venus that has like brown hair? And then she
they all have
transforms and it's
natural.
like bright blonde. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
They all
It's
have
really
natural
cool.
hair. Usagi, like when they transform, their hair transforms into like
There's some cheap fit. I've definitely seen some of the PGSM henshin. Venus is definitely stuck with me. Yeah, that's really cool.
they all do that.
Is PGSM the one where Luna is like a stuffed animal, but she also like, is she animatronic? Like, I've never quite understood. I'm always,
It's
I'm always
definitely someone like hand puppeting her.
okay, okay, yeah. I was like, is this a stuffed animal that they're carrying out, or is this like a puppet? So,
It's a stuffed animal.
okay,
And the only thing that Luna does and Artemis does is their facial expressions will change, but their mouths don't move.
It's so cute.
so is it implied that they're like telepathically communicating with the Senshi?
No,
Or
they talk out loud because Mamoru almost hears Luna,
oh, okay, okay. The,
but they're supposed to be like pretending to be plushies. But it's cute because Luna
oh,
does have a Sailor Scout form. Just
God. Sailor
and
Luna.
I've seen cosplayers do that, and they were like, "It's from PGSM," and I was like, "This is so cute. It sucks. I can't watch it." So I just didn't try hard enough.
Sailor Luna is my favorite. She's so
It's
fucking
adorable.
cute.
It looks so adorable. I haven't seen her in the show, but I've seen like the screenshots, and it's such a cute uniform.
And she's such a sassy little girl that they got to play her because she acts like Luna when she's the Sailor Scout. And I was like, oh, you're so cute.
So perfect. She knows better than everybody. Come on.
Oda letting us know that there's a plushie for long shots and a hand puppet for close shots. And of course, that classic 2003 made for TV CGI when they needed
Okay,
more.
so that's what threw me off was I swore that I had seen clips that had CGI, and I was like, maybe this is a different series. I don't know. It seems like there's 3 Lunas going on here, and I think that threw me off about, is this the same series? So I was definitely going by cat iteration to tell me.
What is it? Later 2000s CGI
Okay,
for a
perfect.
TV show
High quality for the
in
time.
Japan.
Right.
Just
Cutting
realize
edge, high
back
quality,
then it was
definitely
the
needed.
budgets weren't high for them.
Yeah.
Not like now. Now
No,
they're producing
I was
like
in school for animation at the time, so I definitely remember where we were and where other countries were. And then we had France, which was just kicking out in animation constantly.
Oh, we didn't touch on her attacks.
Oh, was that? Maybe
Oh, no,
that was,
bring it up.
that's such a very basic thing. How did we skip over this? Her attacks are like, or even just like how her henshins change too. Yeah. And even the names of her attacks in the translation of the names of some of her attacks, and then the names of her attacks in Japan versus America and things. I remember, did Burning Mandala, was it called that over here for a while, or did they call it something else? Because I thought
no,
there was like there was a localization issue I remember reading with one of her attacks where they were like, "Oh, Americans don't understand this, so we have to call it something else." And then,
Mars Celestial Fire Surround.
okay, yeah, I think it was, yeah. So that they were like, "Okay, we don't." It might have been Burning Mandala where they were like, "We don't expect Americans to know what a mandala is, so we're going to call it something else instead." And I was like, that's a weird choice. But Deke made a lot of interesting localization choices. Like, I love the Deke anime. They just, localization at the time, localization in the 90s was a broad brush that got applied to a lot of things. Yeah.
No.
They did keep a lot of them though. They kept a lot of the names. And Burning Mandala came back by I think Super.
Yeah,
on it.
because it was the original Deke dub that only went through like part of R. And then I think when they brought everything back, they brought it closer to the source. Yeah, like her attack. I also like, just like with any of the Senshis, like all of their attacks in season 1 start out very simple and just using the base of what their element is. Even with Mars, she's still meditating while she's using her attack. To be fair, Mars had 2 attacks because she couldn't. And I realized just sitting here, I still have the scrolls from when I did my design. But so she would have 2 attacks where she used her scroll, but she also used that as just a human before she even got awoken. And then, but Mars also, again, just like we were saying, with her powers, always felt like a kind of a double hitter where she had her psychic powers, where she could seal the Yoma so that they couldn't attack or hurt anybody else. And then the other girls could go in for the kill. Literally.
Yeah, definitely. No, I liked her attacks. I always thought they were really good. And then one thing I did want to touch on before we finish tonight, I wanted DJD on YouTube always has great compilations of voice actors from Sailor Moon. So I'm having Az bring up the video because I'd like us to touch on each of the voice actors.
I have to say, just very briefly, I love Christina V. Like, I think she did such a great job on Mars and Crystal. And she's or just the newer. She is the newer voice of Mars, and I thought she was just so fitting. But yeah, I think going over the voice actors is a great idea.
愛の炎が燃え盛る正義の炎が燃え盛る人の恋路を邪魔する者はもっとい獣の恋路を邪魔する者は火星に変わって石棺よその人のピュアな心を奪うなんて愛と情熱のセーラー服美少女戦士セーラーマーズが許さない火星に変わって愛と情熱のセーラー服美少女戦士セーラーマーズ火星に変わって世界よバーニングマンダラ来るわ何かとてつもないことが起こるただならぬ容器もののけか神聖なるこの神社に災いをもたらす輩許さない
The fires of love are burning. The fire of justice is burning. I won't let anyone destroy a person's, no, even a kitty's chance at romance. I will punish you on behalf of the planet Mars. I am Sailor Mars and I'm the power of fire. I will right wrongs and triumph over the forces of evil. And that would be you, Sleazoid. Now let him go before I kick your caboose. Mars, Celestial, Fire, Mars, Star, Power! Look at us! We're Sailor Scouts of goodness! Mars, Celestial, Fire, Surround! Don't you care at all that Rubius is... Mars, power! Make up! The flames of love are burning. The flames of justice are burning. I can't forgive those who get in the way of love between people and all living creatures. So in the name of Mars, I'll chastise you. I am the pretty guardian who fights for love and for passion. I am Sailor Mars. In the name of Mars, I'll chastise you. Burning!
I think Mars, they kept very consistent with the voice actress, where when you look at other Scouts, they didn't keep that consistency. While Mars, I felt from Deke to Christina V, the
Been pretty
tone,
same sound and the same aesthetic. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Usagi, I feel, has definitely had the biggest transformation in voices. And I love her Deke voice because it's so classic. But if you compare it to if you compare it to the other voice actresses' work, honestly, like even just her original Japanese voice actress, classic. Like it's
Mhm.
just when I hear Sailor Moon talking, the voice that I hear, but I also think that it's good because Usagi, being a main character, has so many different facets that various types of voices can fit who she is.
Mhm.
But you have to be able to do a good cry. You have to be able to do a good scream to be Sailor Moon.
I think that her original voice actress for Deke had that down pat, like that high pitch that she had to get,
Mhm.
she hit it without it being, I know some people find it annoying, but I personally didn't. Like, she hit it where it didn't feel forced.
Mhm.
It felt very natural to the character, like the Japanese voice actress. And I think as we move through voice actresses, the only other one who hit that was the voice actress who took over for the Nehelenia series the first time, because they had a voice actress after the Doom Tree. I think Usagi's voice changed when
Yeah.
we went
Yeah.
into Chibiusa's arc. Her voice actress changed. I noticed it instantly, of course, because autism. And I was like, who are you? And
Not the
they
Sailor Moon I know. Yeah.
not the same minute. And I think I believe it's the voice actress who was for the Pegasus series for Nehelenia's arc, that I really liked her that voice actress, I would have to look it up. But she was also one of my favorite voice actresses, and I think the autograph I have is her because my friend went to a convention and she was like, "You're the one my friend likes. Look at her Sailor Moon tattoo." And I was like, "Thanks,"
So cute.
because I have
Uh,
a beautiful Sailor Moon sleeve.
What is saying no, that was still Terry Hawks during then. Linda Ballantyne didn't take over until season 3, and she stayed on till the dub ended.
I didn't realize that was Terry. I wonder if they changed voice directors then and they just directed her differently.
That could be.
I don't know.
I don't
It
think
had to be someone. I feel like it was someone else for.
I have to look this up real quick because I don't think Terry was the voice for her at the very start of the series.
She wasn't, because I'm rewatching Deke right now. She
And
took
then,
over for somebody.
yeah, there was a voice actress for her in the first handful of episodes. Then I think it became Terry Fox. But I do remember that voice shift that you were talking about. And so I do wonder if they were just telling her, hey, you have range, so pitch this way instead of this way. I got to meet Terry at a convention. I was helping out at a friend's booth and she came by and she was just like, oh, my friend was selling like some Sailor Moon items. And she was like, oh, yeah, your friend was just in my panel and said that I could pick up one of these brooch, like compact items. And I was like, just looking at her for a little bit because I was like, why did you, there's something in your pitch that just sounds familiar. And she was like, oh, I'm the voice actress of. I was like, oh, and I totally fangirled all over her. I was like, you're my child. And so I was like, I love and the range that you had. And she was very sweet. She was like, oh, she was like, hold on a second. And she cleared her throat and she did the Usagi wail. And I was just like, I can die. This is perfect. I thank you. Here, please take this. I gave her the item that she had come to the booth for. And I was like,
Would have
felt
cried.
like I had met royalty. So
Would have cried.
the fact that she like did the whale for me, I was like, nothing. I don't care what else happens today. Everything's great.
That's so epic. Then Ura coming in with a fun fact. So cool thing is that Christina B also voices Homura Akemi and Madoka Magica, and the word Homura translates to flame, which is cool that she also voiced hers.
Oh, that is so cool. I didn't know Homura translate into that. That's awesome.
And
Yeah,
then
Christina's great. She's got such a good voice. She's got such a good bass voice, and she has really good range. She gets cast really well.
And then I know Az is doing some research. So then the other comment Oda puts is, if I remember correctly, she didn't come back for S and Supers because she had just had twins. So maybe when those episodes in R were recorded, she was pregnant with those twins.
Oh, interesting. And that does affect your diaphragm, definitely.
Oh my God, I can't imagine.
Okay. This brings us to the end of our show. Thank you guys for joining us for the 5th episode of season 3. We'll be going on our next Mooney adventure in May. We haven't decided what it is yet, clearly. Because I'm like, usually I have a.
I know, I couldn't put anything in.
It's fine. May, we'll have another adventure. As always, we make it fun. Again, thank you, our fellow Moonies. Make sure you follow us on all of our socials. You can find them in our link tree in the description. And then, as always, I'm Azira. I'm here. I'm queer. My back pain is moderate to severe. And you guys can find me on Twitch, Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram, all at Azira_witch. I'm hoping to get back into streaming again once my wife finishes my PNG tuber. So this is the only place you'll actually see my face.
And Kiara, thank you guys for having me on the podcast or the stream. This was really cool. I really appreciated getting to talk about my best girl and like hyper focus and just info dump and share this type of stuff, especially so close to her birthday. Definitely. I know we're like heading into Taurus season, but we're on the edge of Aries season. So this was really cool to talk about. But yeah, I'm Kiara. I am a queer Latina cosplayer. You can follow me on my socials. My Instagram is right there. My face is right there as well. I will be having a lot of Sailor Mars photos from the prototype shoot that did come through. But yeah, thank you so much to both Michi and Azira for having me on to talk about this tonight. This was a lot of fun. This is a great stream.
Yes, and then Oda requests that you come back after you watch PGSM.
Okay. All right. Will do. It'll be 42 episodes and I don't have a lot of free time. So it might be in like 6 months or 8 months. But yes, I would love that.
As and I will be here.
to talk about more feelings.
Absolutely. And then, as always, I have been your host, Michi. You can find my personal socials at MEW21, some underscore cosplay. For Eternal Mooncast, previously recorded content from our show comes out Moony Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern on YouTube if we have content. For Bishojo Senshi Slumber Party, we are currently reacting to the deep dub, and we just finished the Nephirite arc, and we're moving into Zoisite. That reaction will be May 11th. There we go. That'll be the next discussion portion, and that'll be for episodes 21 through 25. We appreciate any likes, comments, follows, or however you would like to support our show in your own way. We do read all the comments on YouTube. As a quick reminder, these are just our personal opinions, and we celebrate all respectful Mooney opinions here. We are working hard on the show to be a place for Moonies to come together and discuss their theories and their love and passion for Sailor Moon. Remember, as Sailor Mars once said, nothing good comes out of mimicking other people. What's important is being yourself. Good night.
Good night.